We continue our unit on solving rational equations. Solve the following rational equations. Be sure to check for extraneous solutions. So this is a continuation from yesterday's assignment. The first thing is to factor each of the denominators. Each of these denominators are already factored as far as they can be factored. Next, we find the LCD. In this case, the LCD is just x plus 1. We write down the first denominator. We look in the second denominator, and x plus 1 is not represented with 1, so I need to multiply 1 times x plus 1. And we look at the third denominator. X plus 1 is represented now, so I don't need to write it again. So we have x plus 1 as our least common denominator. Next thing we want to do is find out what x cannot be. So let's set the denominator equal to 0. X plus 1 equals 0, so x is equal to negative 1. So x cannot equal negative 1. The next step is to multiply the least common denominator to every term in the equation. When we multiply the LCD by each term in the equation, the denominator will go away and cancel. So the first term, I'm left with 2 times x plus 1 minus, in the second term, x plus 1 will cancel with x plus 1, leaving 1. After the equal sign, the x plus 1 will cancel with x plus 1, leaving x. Now let's distribute. 2 times x is 2x. 2 times 1 is 2. Minus 1 equals x. Combining like terms, 2 minus 1 is 1. So we have 2x plus 1 equals x. Bringing our number terms to one side and our variables to the other, if I subtract x from both sides, we get x plus 1 is equal to 0, and then subtract 1. So x is equal to negative 1. Remember from the beginning of the problem, we cannot have x equal to negative 1, because when we do, we end up with 0 in the denominator, and that is undefined. So this is no solution. Factor the denominators. We factor out a 2 and we get x plus 4. This is a difference of 2 squares, x plus 4 times x minus 4. And this, we factor out a 2 and we get x minus 4. Need to get the least common denominator. So we start with the first term and write that down. 2 and x plus 4. Now let's go to the second denominator. I already have an x plus 4 represented here, so I do not write it again. However, x minus 4 is not already represented, so let's write that down. Now for the third term, I already have 2 represented and already have x minus 4. So the LCD is 2 times x plus 4 times x minus 4. Let's go ahead and figure out what x cannot equal. In the first denominator, if I set x plus 4 equal to 0, x is equal to negative 4. Therefore, if I put negative 4 in for x, I will get 0 in the denominator. So x cannot equal negative 4. Looking in the second denominator, I get x equals negative 4 and x equals 4 when I set this equal to 0. Therefore, x cannot equal 4 as well. So x cannot equal negative 4 or 4 because that will give us a 0 in the denominator. Now we have our least common denominator. Let's multiply each term by 2 times x plus 4 times x minus 4. I have left the denominators in factored form because it's easier to see what to cancel. Let's look at the first term. The 2's will cancel, and the x plus 4's will cancel. So this will leave us with 10 times x minus 4. In the second term, The x plus 4 will cancel. The x minus 4 will cancel. And this leaves us with 2 times 7x plus 8. In the third term, the 2's will cancel, and the x minus 4's will cancel. And this leaves us with negative 8 times x plus 4. Now let's distribute and simplify and solve. 10 times x is 10x. 10 times negative 4 is negative 40. This is going to be negative 14x. And negative 2 times 8 is negative 16 equals negative 8. Remember, we do have to distribute the negative to both terms in the parentheses. Negative 8 times x is negative 8x. And negative 8 times 4 is negative 32. Let's combine like terms on each side of the equal sign. 10 and negative 14 is negative 4x. Negative 40 and negative 16 is negative 56. And on the right side is good. Now let's bring the number terms to one side and the variable terms to the other. We can add 8x to both sides and add 56 to both sides. On the left-hand side, we get 4x. The 56 is cancelled, and 56 minus 32 is 24. Dividing by 4, x is equal to 6. Now at the very beginning, we have to check for extraneous solutions. Remember, x cannot be negative 4 or 4. 6 satisfies those conditions. Let's look at another example. We start by making sure the denominators are all factored, and in this problem they are. Now we get a least common denominator. We start with x minus 1. Go to the next fraction. The denominator is a 3. 3 is not represented here, so we need to multiply x minus 1 times 3. Now let's go to the third denominator, and that is also x minus 1. It is represented here. So the least common denominator is 3 times x minus 1. Let's go ahead and figure out what x cannot be equal to. If we set x minus 1 equal to 0 and solve for x, x is equal to 1. So x cannot equal 1. Because if I put 1 into the parentheses here, 1 minus 1 is 0, and any number divided by 0 is undefined. Now let's multiply the LCD by each term in the parentheses. In the first term, x minus 1's will cancel, leaving 3 times x plus 1. In the second term, the 3's will cancel, leaving x times x minus 1. And in the third term, the x minus 1's will cancel, leaving 6. Now let's distribute and combine like terms and solve for x. 3 times x is 3x. 3 times 1 is 3. X times x is x squared. X times negative 1 is negative 1x plus 6. Remember, this is a quadratic, so we want to set one side equal to 0 so we can factor and solve. So subtract 3x from both sides and subtract 3. On the left side we get 0. On the right side we get x squared negative 4x plus 3. Now we can factor. X times x is x squared, and the two numbers that multiply together to give me positive 3 but add together to give me negative 4 are negative 3 and negative 1. Set each of these factors equal to 0 to find x. So set x minus 3 equal to 0, x is equal to 3, and x minus 1 equals to 0, so x equals to 1. Remember, x cannot equal to 1, so this is not an answer. So our answer is x equals 3. And try number 4 on your own.